The Book of Boba Fett is easily one of the worst, if not the worst, Star Wars show to come out in the last few years. This show had a lot of potential, especially with his appearance in The Mandalorian being so highly praised and actually feeling like the Boba Fett we see in Legends and in comics. And then when we got that ending scene where he takes over Bib Fortuna's throne, like, everybody was hyped. Like, the show's gonna be pretty good. The Book of Boba Fett was announced, and we were all hyped to see what it's gonna be about. He's going to take over the criminal underworld. He's going to be messing people up left and right. He's going to be this ruthless leader. But no, they turn him into a punk. He just gets punked this entire series. Suddenly, he cares about ruling with respect. He cares about giving water to the civilians. He cares about the civilians in general. This isn't how Boba really is or has ever been seen before. And it's not really like they give a killer explanation on why he's like this. Yeah, they show the flashback with the Tuskens, but that means he only cares about the Tuskens. He should not care about all the civilians and everything and ruling with respect. He should be caring about taking over other criminal underworld, or the criminal underworld, and the show should have been him about doing it and doing it ruthlessly. And there was one scene where I thought we got old Boba back when all the leaders of the crime syndicate, or whatever the syndicate was called, they were all like hung and they were executed with string. I thought that was going to be Boba, like, oh my god, like, Boba is finally back. But no, that was Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand is acting more like Boba than Boba was, and like, that's kind of annoying in a sense. And it's not even like Tuskens changed his way, because in The Mandalorian, he was brutal. He was brutalizing the stormtroopers left and right, like, he was just taking them out. He didn't have a problem with it. So Boba is still a violent person, but he's not portrayed as this in his own show. Don't even get me started with how stupid the whole premise of the speeder bike gang was, and just them in general. I'd rather just not talk about it, because it takes away more from the show, just making it more goofy, when the goofiness should not belong in a Boba Fett show. It wasn't even this goofy in The Mandalorian. Maybe the Jack Black episode, maybe it has an episode here and there, but The Mandalorian could afford that because of how many episodes are in the 3 seasons all spread apart. Boba only had 6 episodes. And my biggest gripe with the Book of Boba Fett is that he's not even in 2 episodes. One episode he's completely absent in, and the other episode he cameos in. He cameos in his own show. That is absolutely absurd. This is called the Book of Boba Fett, not Mandalorian Season 2.5, but it was treated as Mandalorian Season 2.5. Because if you were to watch Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 3, you have to watch Book of Boba Fett to understand why they're in the situation they're in Mandalorian Season 3. I feel like that was such a mistake. They should have never done that. And that ruined the ending of Mandalorian Season 2, and it ruined the Book of Boba Fett. Luke Skywalker, Clone Troopers, R2-D2 are all in the Book of Boba Fett. But guess who never actually interacts with Boba Fett? Luke Skywalker, Clone Troopers, R2-D2. That is so absurd. You know how cool it would have been to see Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett interact with each other? Or to see live action interpretation of Boba Fett with the Clone Troopers during Order 66 and what he thought about the Clone Troopers during then? That would have been a cool interaction. That would have been a cool flashback to see in the Book of Boba Fett. But no, instead we get Order 66 flashback, but we don't see Boba interacting with the clones or Boba interacting with an older Luke Skywalker. It boggles my mind on how these decisions were even made. Cad Bane was brought back as like an 80-year-old man. It would have been cool if we would have saw Cad Bane of one of the finished Clone Wars arcs where Boba fought Cad Bane and how he got the dent in his helmet. I thought we were going to get that. I think I was really optimistic. But we see Cad Bane and Boba duel again. Cad Bane gets punked. He's dead. It's kind of weird that he's still out doing this when he's still 80 years old. You feel like he'd be able to retire by then. But they brought Cad Bane back into live action just to kill him off. That was pretty stupid. Maybe he's still alive. There's people that are coping that he is because his monitor went off. I guess we'll see in the future. But overall, this show was just bad. It serves as Mandalorian Season 2.5 more than anything else. It's like all the Netflix shows had to share their Season 2 to connect with the Defenders. That's how I feel like with Book of Boba Fett. It was just a Season 2.5 for Mandalorian. You have to watch this to understand why they're in where they're at in Mandalorian Season 3. I feel like that's unacceptable. It drags down the story of the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett story as a whole standalone is not good. The cameos are not really that good. And overall, this show was just, it's not fun to watch. And if you follow the lore at all, it's not fun to watch either. The characters introduced are not fun. They're annoying. The show is just bad. If you have not seen it, you could skip it. I feel like it is the worst Star Wars show to come out. The story just isn't there. Nothing is there. Boba isn't acting like Boba. And overall, it's just an easy skip. I feel like it's the worst Star Wars show of all time. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.